So there's one other concept, new concept that I want to bring up for you guys, which we have not dealt with before because it was not possible in the IDE. And that is the concept of returning a list of iWeb elements. So when we put this query into our FirePath and hit enter, you guys see what it selects? It selects, right, the 3 radio buttons. And that's good to know because we can have multiple elements returned to our object in Selenium Webdriver. And using this right here is exactly how we do it. So we have our locator, and this locator is going to return us 3 elements. And those elements, rather than being stored in a variable like this, they are now going to be stored in an iList of iWeb elements, right? An iList, it's an interface for a list with a bunch of iWeb element types inside of it, and we're going to call that elements. The other thing to notice here is that rather than using the find element method that we've been using here, we're using the find elements because we realize that it's going to return us multiple elements when we put this in. Let's run this and take a look at how that object looks once we're done with it. Excellent. So if I do a step over here and then scroll up and we hover over this elements, you guys can see that there are a total count of 3 elements inside of this iList. And if we expand that, you guys can see, just like in our FirePath, we can use these brackets to select which element that we want. So for example, if I come over here to the watch and I do elements and then put brackets 0 and hit enter, it only looks at the first iWeb element returned from into this iList. And you guys get why it's 0, right? Because in C#, a list, any collection is populated from 0 index. And in XPath, it starts with 1. So just keep that in mind. But we are populating this C# iList, which starts at 0. And so you can see that this element, the first one, can be identified by 0. And if we want to hover over here and expand this and expand that, we can see that this element is tag name input. And then if we, for example, want to click it, let me bring this over. By the way, you guys see how this is always checked every time you open a fresh browser? That's because of that checked property. Checked equals checked. So if I do this, and then I come in here, and I can do that click. Oh yeah, that won't work because you cannot convert it to a group. But what you can do is using these elements, you can now circle through them and do stuff with them, like click the first one, or click the second one, or check to see if an element contains text using this text property, but it doesn't have anything because it doesn't have any text. But so now you can get this collection and you can work with this collection and do whatever you need depending on the element that you want. So this is new, but it's going to be used throughout a lot of our lectures to help you guys better work with Selenium objects.